I want to start with Sebastian Gorka. Sebastian Gorka is a former consort of, well, rather the more precise word would be consultant for Donald Trump and an advisor. And he's someone who is in the same orbit as Steve Bannon. We cover Steve Bannon pretty regularly here because of the role that he is playing in the global fascist movement. Sebastian Gorka is right there next to Steve Bannon and Donald Trump. That said, they decided to go just full homophobic. And in this case, it's over Pete Buttigieg. We covered that story of him adopting, he and his partner or his husband adopting twins. And now this has become the topic of fodder for the Republicans. And here is Sebastian Gorka attacking, well, let's take a listen in.
It would be fun because if they set that precedent, then we can do it with all of the documents regarding Obama, the Iran deal, Biden, and his actual encouragement of using the Logan Act to frame Mike Flynn. So whichever way you cut it, either Donald Trump destroys them, or we get all the weapons we need to uncover the real corruption, the real dirt of all these Democrat administrations that have sold America, to our enemies for decades now. But look, it's very simple. What else have they got, Grant? What else are you going to talk about as you approach the midterms? It's like the distractions of the last two impeachments. When the border is open, when the economy is tanking, when Buttigieg is on quote-unquote paternity leave. I thought, how do you have paternity when you don't actually have the child, okay? Adopting it. How does that get you paternity leave? And by the way, can conservatives stop calling it his husband, okay? It's not his husband. In Western civilization, men can't have husbands, okay? We have a little bit of accuracy in our use of language. So whether it's 100 supercargo ships off the coast of LA, whether it's the retreat from Afghanistan, Kabul under the control of the Taliban, this is the track record of the Democrats in just 10 months. So what are they going to do? Look at this shiny object over here. Look at our quote-unquote insurrection.
Now, Georgia, that there was a lot in that clip. It's full of ignorance and it's a lot. But look at how he tied geopolitics, like on the global stage, to Pete Buttigieg and his husband adopting. And then to the paternity leave. Isn't it funny how all of these things, all of these bigotries seamlessly overlap?
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to unpack here. Starting with the fact that you're saying in Western civilization, he can't have a husband. No, actually, if you look at our laws, you can. Okay. This is something that has already been passed into legislation. And so, when I'm hearing from people who are on the far right, they sound delusional. They sound delusional because what we see over and over and over again is them denying the facts of where we are as a country, them denying the election, them denying our legislation, them trying to deny us our voting rights. And so they sound delusional. They sound ignorant. But hate is hate. Hate is hate. And so, I'm not surprised that there is this attack on people who are from the LGBTQ community. But what saddens me is the fact that you're mocking these parents, and you are thinking that you have enough power and control to deny someone paternity leave. If you have enough kindness and love in your heart to take children in and raise them as your own with love and care, and I know that's not always the case for adopted kids, but there are some families out there who are doing an excellent job after adopting children. And yes, they should be granted time off to bond with their child, to settle into the transition of becoming a parent. Because at the end of the day, again, going back to these corporations, Ben, we compromise and sacrifice so much of our lives for our employment. But when it's said and done and we're in our hospital bed, our employers are not going to be there with us. Our children are. And why shouldn't parents whether they're from the LGBTQ community, whether they've given natural birth or whether they've adopted. Why shouldn't they be given this time off? There's some employers who are giving pet leave when you buy a new pet. You get time off to bond with the pet. You get a
I'm
pet
sorry.
leave.
I don't
Come
mean to
on.
laugh so I don't mean to laugh so hysterically, but we always do come down to whether or not who's going to get treated better in this world, black people or pets. But I digress. Because I know this is not about black people per se, but it's like it's so many intersections here, Georgia, and the absurdity of a group of people who like to forward themselves as being pro-life, being opposed to one gay couples, LGBTQ couples adopting in the first place. Because you have to understand, it took years. Yeah, obviously you've been covering it and reporting it, so as well. But years just getting this country comfortable with the fact that there are gay couples who want to raise children and adopt them. There have been people who would rather see children languish in foster care and group homes rather than to see them be adopted by an LGBTQ couple. And so how are these people who claim to be so in favor of the life of children so willing to abandon them the moment they're born?